Matt Sager broadcasting from my beautiful new studio just outside New York City in Colts Neck, New Jersey, where it's peaceful, beautiful. New York City, not a fantastic place to be right now for a lot of reasons, COVID obviously being among them. But that doesn't mean I don't want to do my part. I think we should all do our parts. The one positive thing about a global pandemic is it puts everything into scale, reminds you just what really is and is not a big deal, what is really important, and how necessary it is for everyone to care about everyone else. It's only ever been a myth that we're individuals who don't depend on anyone. The world depends on us all being a little bit cooperative and kind. If it didn't before, it sure does now. And it's hard to know what to do, right? People talk about herd immunity, but to get there, if that's even possible, the casualties, the suffering and death are kind of difficult to imagine. And I'm sorry, this is a depressing way to start my Monday podcast. But obviously, just opening up cities and states willy-nilly is not the right method either. Testing would seem to be an obvious and critical thing to get done. Find out if you're positive or not so you can self-quarantine. Get this done en masse. And one reason that I feel okay discussing this very serious topic on what is normally a pretty lighthearted podcast is that it ties into a bit of Avengers-ish news. Robert Downey Jr. He was on Facebook and Twitter on Friday promoting CORE. That's an acronym for Community Organized Relief Effort. Downey Jr. is very effusive in his praise of CORE. He talks about the really important role that they're playing right now in hands-on COVID-19 testing. I'll attach a link to the video in this episode's description, but here's a little snippet.
Right now, CORE is the only organization that is boots on the ground, working with mayors and governors to coordinate free drive-through COVID-19 testing in LA, Atlanta, and they're looking to expand nationwide. I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, clearly they are. He speaks a little bit more about them, but I've gone to their website. I'll attach a link to that as well. And it's obvious that they are, as he says, doing boots on the ground COVID-19 testing, obviously at great personal sacrifice and risk. The thing about helping out in a pandemic is you're subjecting yourself to great risk, but you're at great risk if you do nothing. We all are. It's cool to see someone like Downey Jr., who has been a superhero for the past 12 years, sort of playing the role out in real life. And there's a tie-in here where he has a little bit of encouragement for people who want to volunteer for CORE. Something that, when the smoke clears and this is all over, will be a really cool thing. Something nice to display and show off and keep and treasure. And remember that you toughed it out during a difficult time and that you helped. Here's the offer, again from Downey Jr.
We are not powerless to get the job done by any stretch. CORE is actively hiring and training folks to run the testing sites, certain of whom are being paid and many who volunteer. We need volunteers, tons. I'll tell you what. Anyone who IDs me at a test site gets first dibs on all the Marvel memorabilia I'll be giving away this summer. What do you think? Yeah. How about another motivator? This is the America I love, where we take action and responsibility for our communities, and we invite the nation to do the same. Every dollar donated to CORE at coreresponse.org is a vote of confidence in our ability to take action and reclaim our freedoms safely.
So there you go. That noise, by the way, is not my microphone doing something weird. There's a little bit of background noise in Robert Downey Jr.'s video. Nothing wrong with that. We've all got stuff going on. The PSA to which he links is also incredibly powerful, and we need positive action at this time. There's so much awful news and so many scary changes to our life. I think one of the best things you can do in a time like that, for yourself and for the world, is to help. CORE looks like the real deal. Robert Downey Jr. is obviously convinced that it is. So check out my links to his video and also to the website with the excellent PSA narrated by Edward James Olmos and directed by renowned music video director Samuel Bayer. And taking a turn for the much less serious on today's episode of the Matt Sager podcast, Rick and Morty's back. In case you didn't catch them last Sunday, they've resumed part 2 of season 4 with a more action-packed episode, frankly, than last week's Never Ricking Morty, which was a lot of fun, but it was deeply meta and a little bit confusing and a big sort of goof at the show's expense, at the show's fans' expense, at Dan Harmon's storytelling style's expense. Interestingly, they are sort of stuck in that storytelling mode. Like, this too is a tiny bit meta. It seems to be having a little bit of fun, at least with the alien movie genre, and a little bit with the dynamics of Rick and Morty, the family dynamics. But there's always a little bit of that, always has been in Rick and Morty. It may just be as the show ages, that's just becoming more part of its DNA, and we're just going to see that in pretty much every episode. But last night's episode, titled Promortyus, is a lot of fun. As I said, it's a riff on Alien primarily. It also delves a little bit into the Smith family dynamic, with Summer playing a pretty important role as she occasionally does every several episodes. Jerry popping up for a second to show himself as being an ineffectual boob, because that's what Jerry does. And of course, Rick and Morty, instigating all the danger, needing to be rescued from it, mostly by Summer, and everyone needing a little bit to be saved from themselves. But that's the beauty of Rick and Morty. Like, alongside this action-packed, wacky, multiverse sci-fi show is a family perpetually in crisis. And you see little bits of that. Sometimes great amounts of it, depending on the episode, depending on the season. In this case, the fraught family part of it kind of played a role in how everything turned out for Rick and Morty and for the alien planet they happened to stumble upon. And honestly, as is not uncommon, sadly, with Rick and Morty, the face-hugging, egg-laying, acid blood-leaking monsters are basically the de facto good guys when faced with Rick and Morty. And that's all I'm going to say about it. No spoilers, but do check it out. It aired last night. Hopefully you DVR'd it. If not, you can get it from any number of video-on-demand services. It does feel like Rick and Morty is back, firing on all cylinders. Something about last week's anthology episode felt a little bit off for me. This felt like another classic Rick and Morty episode, and I recommend you check it out. Thanks as always. More to come very soon. Check out my social media links and ways you can support this podcast in the episode description. If you're on YouTube, please hit like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and feel free to share this anywhere and everywhere. Similarly, if you're listening to this on a podcast network, I'd love it if you subscribe there. Feel free to leave me reviews, and I'll talk with you soon.